Phoenix, can you let me do the video? Go sleep somewhere else. Come on. Get a cat, they tell you. Get a cat. Hey guys, Coldbrew here. Welcome to another Racial Legends video. Guys, we're going to be doing a takeover in this account. Basically, I've done the takeover. It's over on Lexi Sky's account. He does have a totally endgame account. Well, not totally, because totally it would mean he would have every single champion. It would have made my job easier into making a team that would farm stage 25 of the spider dungeon in under 20 seconds. It's very possible if you do have very specific champions. This account almost had every single one of them, except one, which was Prince Karma, to enable us to get that under 20-second time. It's a team that Smiley TK first did with Sicia Flametongue. She is the core of this team into getting a very fast time, because the change in Spider 25 basically made the Spider take way less damage from enemy max HP. So no longer you can just go with 2 cold hearts in there with totally end game stats and just nuke it out with a defense down weaken, then get a reset going, then just nuke it out. You no longer can do this, unfortunately, but with the introduction of Sicia Flametongue into the champion pool, you can totally do it. You don't even need to have her at level 60. If you want to do the very fast time, you do need to have her booked. Well, do you need to have her booked? I don't even think you need to have her booked for the totally fast time. But for what I wanted to do, if I wanted to get a faster time on this account, I would need to probably have her booked, because I would need to replace at least one of the champions that I have on this team. But even so, look at this Sicia Flametongue. She's got no books at all on her skills. She's got barely any gear, honestly. Under 200 speed, 200 accuracy, plus her aura. Then she's gonna be at a 260. No masteries at all, and she'll be doing an immense amount of damage. The reason is because of this flame eruption skill. So what this does is it does apply a weaken and a decreased defense to the enemy team, but also instantly activates any HP burn debuff on each target and decreases the duration of those HP burn debuffs by 1 turn. Fantastic skill. It means that it does basically 3% times, how many are the spider links? 10? Or is it 12? I think it's 10 spider links plus the boss. That's 11 targets times that HP burn damage, which is 3% of the health. So what? 33% of the damage immediately, basically, with this skill, plus the cold hearts doing their maximum 10% with Heartseeker getting that enemy turn meter down, and just then waiting out those HP burns to do the rest of the health of the boss, because we don't have a reset. What you do need with this team is a champion here to actually give you either a protection or a freeze to the whole enemy team. So the freeze would have been to just freeze all the spiralings, have them there, not attack you at all. Many champions can do this. I used Miscreated Monster instead. Just get a big shield to all my champions, protect them for a little while until the HP burn basically takes the enemy team out. But if I remember, we didn't have anything very specific for a freeze on this. I mean, I do have Ray, and I think I went through all the champions. Didn't find anybody else who could do a consistent freeze, because remember, you need consistency for this team to be as close to 100% as possible in terms of win rate. So let's go in the spider dungeon. I'll show you the team, and then I'll come back to the gearing just to explain the reasoning behind gearing a team like this. It's very easy, and it totally worked in all dungeon levels. It just was a little bit more difficult for the stages where weak affinity played some role. But on stage 25, there's no weak affinity doing anything. So let's go see the team, and then I'll explain how I made the new AI work for my advantage. So here we have Miscreated Monster go first. This is very important because you need him to go before anybody else. There's the HP burn. There's the nuke here from Sicia. Look at that health. And then we're gonna have the next cold heart go, basically do her A3 now. Boom, look at that. And then the remaining health, about 30 or so percent, will be taken out through the HP burns that all the spiralings have. So this is where it takes a little bit longer. So we needed about 25 seconds to do all our rotations. If we had a reset, then Sicia would go and do her A2 again here and basically nuke out the big spider. So this is pretty much it. And there it is. The HP burns did their work. 43 seconds to take down Spider 25. Pretty solid team. Here, I could have used maybe a different champion, but look at the damage of the Cold Hearts, which is capped out basically because of the the recent change um, to how the enemy bosses take damage from stage 21 to 25. Sicia of course did a 2.6, and Tyrant Limor did a 6.2 through all those HP burns. I'm thinking because he applied it, so the damage applies to him instead of Sicia. So I don't know how that works. I don't care. I just want to see the big spider just go down. So let's go over how the team setup works in terms of AI, because I did use some custom AI here. So first things first, Sicia goes with her Flame Eruption, the skill which erupts the HP burns. I have this set up as the opener and always the first choice. Always use this if it's available. So if we did have a Chimera in here, this would have been basically a skill that she would use basically 2 times over and just nuke down the big spider. So on the first Cold Heart, this one right here, she is the fastest one, 203. It's very essential for me for her to not use her Heart Seeker first. I had her just use her opening A1 instead of her A3, because this Cold Heart would have used her Heart Seeker first. I let the big spider take a turn, not take a turn, some time to pass, so that she gains some more turn meter, and then the next Cold Heart goes in with her Heart Seeker, so she totally depletes the turn meter, well 50% of that anyway, and so it gives us a little bit more time, because if she used Heart Seeker before that, then we might have had an issue with the big spider taking a turn. So that's a reason why I didn't have Heartseeker here as an opener as well. Then Miscreant Monster have Lightning Storm as his opener, big shield to everybody. And then Tyrant Exclamor again, opener have that HP burn. So in terms of speed and how fast they are, we have Miscreant Monster at a 214. Very important for him to be first, because he needs to take a turn and then another 2 Spiderlings will be summoned. So not all Spiderlings are summoned at the beginning of the fight. And let's go in there and I'll show you exactly what I mean. So this is very important to have somebody go first before the HP burn goes. So that's why I don't have Miscreant Monster hit everybody, even with a defense down. I don't need that. This is a good amount of a shield. So you saw that the 2 Spiderlings went down, and then my Tyrant went. He did an HP burn on everybody. Then ideally Sicia will go just activate it on all the targets, and then she'll apply either a defense down or a weaken, depending on if you have her booked or not. If you have her booked, then it's 100% to apply those. And then my Cold Hearts go. So that's how this rotation goes. There's no really a chance for this to fail, unless maybe we get a resist on the Cold Hearts. Turn meter reduction, that's gonna suck, because it's probably just gonna be the reason that we die, because the big spider is gonna take a turn. Somebody will die, probably one of the Cold Hearts, and it's gonna be a run that's over. But this happens. We don't have a champion yet that does what Cold Heart does without a chance to get resisted. Cold Heart is Void. She cannot get a weak hit, but she can get resisted. Even if you do have like the 200 to 250 accuracy that's needed, even if you do have that, there's still a small chance, like a 3%, to get resisted. That's why I've got 2 Cold Hearts here, just to get that chance a little lower, in the sense that over 100 runs, we'll have maybe 2% or 1.5% of the runs being a failed run, just because of the Cold Hearts. Maybe the other ones we might have a failed run again, but pretty much this is consistent. I haven't done a failed run just yet. We've got a good affinity against us. Miscreant and Monster Tyrant are okay with it. Sicia is strong affinity, so HP burn on all the targets. Look at that explosion, big damage on the big boss. There's the 773, which is the capped amount of damage. And there's the next one from this Cold Heart, which again is the capped amount of damage, 773. That's because of the defense down and weaken that Sicia applies. It just shows the power of this new champion, how it easily makes for a very, very fast team, even on Dungeon 25, which is a brand new one. There's not many teams out there that can do stage 25 so fast, and pretty much I think all of them use a variation of having Sicia in there and then some other champion. So fantastic champion. I would recommend building her up even at level 50. Just look at that. So she's totally gonna bring down your time for the spider. So let's go over the gear of everybody. I'm just gonna quickly go through it because it's nothing too crazy. Miscreant Monster here, nothing too crazy, just focused on speed, 225 accuracy, 60% critical rate. If you guys don't know, he doesn't really need too much critical rate. The reason is there's so many targets out there. If you do have 100%, then that's great. If you don't worry too much about it. Get some critical damage going so he can get those crits in there on average on 6 out of 10 spiralings, and then the big shields will come to your team. They'll protect you for a while, for those 40 seconds that you need to have at least everybody stay alive. Maybe one of the cold hearts die. So totally reasonable gear. Critical damage on the gloves, 83% on the chest, speed on the boots. Nothing too crazy. 225 accuracy. Not even that was needed. I didn't need 225. He's booked out, but again, the books don't really matter. And masteries, no masteries at all. Just a few on the accuracy here on the support tree. And then next up are the two cold hearts. Pretty much built the same in terms of masteries. Skills, they both have them maxed out. And I did focus on getting 100% crit on both. And then about 200% critical damage is what is needed, while also maintaining that 200 and above accuracy, which is the base stats for building a cold heart. This one's a little bit faster. She's at a 203. I could have built a faster one, but there's no need. There's not going to be any runs where the cold heart needs to take 3 turns or 4 turns or just wait for another rotation on her heart seeker. So I didn't really focus on getting the best out of the best gear available on the other champions. Just getting about 200 critical damage is enough, because remember, her damage is capped out. And then finally, Sicia, I think I did go over her before. Just 200 accuracy, under 200 speed, no masteries, no books. And then Tyrant is there basically for him to use his A2. You don't really care about his gear, just enough speed, so he goes ideally second, right after all the spiralings are summoned, so he can do his HP burn on all the targets, which is a 100% chance if you book it out. So this is essential. You can use any champion that applies a HP burn, but ideally you want to have an HP burn on all targets. So champions like let's say Venus, Mordecai, there's many champions out there that apply an HP burn as an AoE, but having a positive affinity, not a weak affinity, is great. Mordecai actually can place, which is even better, so it works for the weaker affinity versions. So yeah, Tyrant definitely worked for this setup, but I could have worked with any other champion that has an AoE HP burn. So this is the team, guys. It was a pretty easy team to build, but you need to know how to build the champions beforehand. I do these takeovers all the time, especially for Spider Dungeon. I do them because people just see, okay, Spider, cold brew, yeah, he will help out. Definitely was a fun team to build. I do have Sicia on my main account, and this is almost the team that I use. I do use a champion with a freeze instead of a Miscreant Monster. This was the video, guys. Thanks a lot for watching. Subscribe if you haven't already. And guys, I'll see you in the next one. See ya.